Having the right environment in your home, it's so important so you can focus as an entrepreneur, coach, or business person. And today we have an expert. Her name is Angela Jones, and she's a principal designer for Lakeshore Designs. And she regularly works with celebrities and influencers to redesign or renovate their homes, their luxury homes, or their vacation homes in order to have the best possible environment and also to add value to properties. So today's topic is extreme home makeover. So how can we actually create an extreme home makeover that will enable us to glam up our home so we can feel more comfortable? And also, if we desire to rent it out, how can we make it look glamorous and add little details that will make it so comfortable for anyone to live, whether it's tenants or yourself?
That's a perfect question, Lily, because there's so many people in the market that are interested in that. Whether you live in a small cottage or a luxurious condo or a luxurious vacation property, there's so many great tips that I'm going to give you today that will help. It starts right from the storyline from when you pull up to the property. I always like to look at where the location of the property is. Does it give you a coastal feel? Does it give you a lake feel? Does it give you more of a pristine feel? So then that sets the whole environment of what you want to have the minute you open the door, right from how it looks at the curb to you open and enter. And that, right, like one of the biggest things I always do is make sure you have a beautiful kitchen. A lot of women and families, they entertain in the kitchen. It's the heart of the home. So I always want to make sure that that's updated, whether it's changing countertops to the stone quartz countertop, adding in beautiful backsplash, lighting, making it a nice big island that people can entertain on. And then I'll also look at the bathrooms because people, when they like to be in vacation or relaxing, they want to have luxurious bathrooms. So I always look at that. And then that's where we'll start doing the renos because you will also get your best return on your investment having those spaces done to perfection, which I like to do. And then once you have that main key pieces of the home, then I work throughout the home to give it an open concept because the more space can feel open and inviting. So sometimes we'll knock down a wall, we'll move some walls, open it up a little bit. And if we have a view, whether it's a luxurious condo or you're looking at a vacation property on lakefront, where's the view? What are you looking at? Maybe you have a beautiful cottage, English cottage in the countryside, but it's the hillside that you want to see. So do we actually see that from the inside? So I like to set the tone right from the storyline of what the property is, and then that's where I start.
Thank you so much. Would you say that adding a minimalist tone in general, does that add value, or is it better to have, the house a bit more, with a lot of, I don't know, flowers or small elements that will make it look like it's a nicer home? What do you think is better? Is it better to make it minimalist or to make it more cluttered but more beautiful, more attractive that way?
That's a good question because minimalist definitely works if you want it to feel luxurious in space because your eye will travel throughout as you're walking through. I'll use larger accessories or I'll use larger pieces of art and then have a few pieces of decor around that tell the storyline because it's more impactful. If you have way too much in your house, it just gets busy, it gets overwhelming. And as we know with Feng Shui as well, you feel that it's an energy that you feel. So if you walk through your home and you feel it very cluttered or very busy, there's a good chance that you have too much stuff in there. So that would be an immediate way to start decluttering. And a great tip is to take photos of your property and each room. And once you print them off and look at them, if you see there's just way too much going in the room, that's what everybody else out in the world is seeing. So it's a great way to take everything out of a room and then only set back the pieces that you love and that give you that luxurious, refined look.
Thank you so much. And would you say that color adds value to a property, or does it add perceived value, or it has no impact at all on the value of a property?
Well, color is definitely important because if you have a beautiful place and you put the wrong colors in it, it could really turn off guests. It can turn off your energy. It could just be way too much. So, like a beautiful little lakeside cottage, you wouldn't want to put bright red in it or bright yellows because it wouldn't give you that nice spa, relaxation, coastal feel. So, it's very key to put the right elements. But if you had a condo and you had an Art Deco look, then your reds and your yellows would look beautiful. So it's very important to put the right color in the theme of what you're decorating because you don't want to throw it off with the wrong tones.
Thank you so much. And would you say that when you're decorating, do you decorate differently based on the fact that the owner is going to live there, based on the fact that the house is going to be for long-term rental, or based on the fact the property is going to be for very short-term rental like Airbnb or Booking.com?
Yes, exactly. Because if somebody is living there, you want to get a little bit of their personality. You want them to feel at home. So we always ask those questions when we're doing a consultation. What is the purpose of this? Are you using short term or long term? Because if it's a long term rental, you don't want to put like super expensive furniture that maybe you're going to be renting out to somebody that might have pets and families there that would be thinking we look at that investment. What are they starting with? If they're doing short-term rentals for Airbnb, again, you want it to be very user friendly. You want it to be not personalized so that anybody can come in and feel at home, where we remove for personal photos and personal items so that you want that clientele to come in and feel like the minute they walk in, they're there at home. And then again, if they're moving, you don't want to load it all up with items. You want it to feel decluttered and fresh.
Thank you so much. And would you say that there is any particular technique that you recommend? For example, in the UK, it's quite common for flats that are listed on Airbnb to have a feature wall. So for example, what they would do is they would have this feature wall of color, and they would typically position the bed next to it and then put, for example, like lamps on both sides. And even if the room was small, they would still do that because it's all about the photo, right? So is that what you would recommend as well? Or is there something else that works better in the country you're in that you would recommend doing instead?
No, that's exactly it. The key is when you're walking through the home, at every doorway, stand in the doorway and look at the room because that's a good indication. What do people see? What will your advertising photo shots look like? And then think of it like that, like you're filming a movie throughout. And I always like to have behind the bed, exactly, have that the focal wall, whether you're adding in some shiplap accents, board and batten accents, or even just a nice wallpaper or paint. Set the bed, always beautiful. Layer the bedding, add really comfy duvets. I usually set a nice accent tray out with a motivational book and then add some waters and some key like little notes of things that they might want for the house, even like a little basket of toiletries, especially for Airbnbs because it's that personalized item that really makes it feel at home. But then setting the lighting that they have lamps that are easy to use. So having that set, right, like you said, with the accent wall behind, beautiful bedding, nice lamps, and some very relaxing artwork for bedrooms are really nice too, because that shows quite beautifully. But when you walk around your home, definitely look at each space and take that picture with your phone and just look at it and see what that looks like. And that's a good indication of, how it will show online.
Thank you so much. So I remember when I was looking to buy or rent a property, and I remember seeing, for example, the property that was the featured property that was representative of most properties in this building where I'm in, and it was so impressive to see what they had created because they had these leaves made of gold and the cutlery made of gold, and I thought that was a really, really incredible way to actually sell or rent out a particular property. So do you recommend having any small items? Because what I've noticed, for example, in my current property, when I looked at it, it didn't have much in it. So it made it look less exciting. And it almost made it look like it had no life. It didn't feel like a home to the point that and also because the light wasn't very good, I just thought, wow, there isn't going to be that much light. I'm not going to like it so much here. So would you say that we should have particular elements that make the home feel more like a home, aside from what you've just mentioned? Because to accentuate that feeling of home.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we do, especially on our vacation properties when they're up for the big lottery, when they're being won. A lot of the times they're not used for a month at a time, but we want the home to look like people are living in it. So we'll decorate it. We make little vignettes and then we'll put artificial plants that look so real now, which give it that little hominess. Because a lot of times with even Airbnbs, is somebody going to water the plants or they water too much? So adding in those decor elements that make it feel very lived in, adding in some nice books and some candles and things that really set the tone like you're living in it. And we always like to set the table, put some beautiful plates out, put some accent trays with decor on it as well. And then it does give that overall feeling that it's lived in, and add some beautiful throws and throw pillows, which changing up the textures are very important because sometimes, like you said, like it could be very cold looking. So adding in some linens and adding some silks and adding some other like woolly elements as well as wood and ceramic, it just really multiplies by the look of the textures. And then it does give a nice ambiance for everybody as well.
Thank you. And if someone was to look to sell their home, is it worth it to stage a property just to be able to sell it, even though you're technically going to have to remove everything after that?
Yes, absolutely. That's a big part of our business, actually. And if you can stage a home quite well, a lot of people want to buy everything in it because it just looks perfect. But the key point is people are buying houses right now online. Their mental capacity is they watch the listings online, they fall in love with the property just by the pictures and what it looks like. So if you can make it look fantastic, your market has already gone up that much because mentally people are like, I love this house, and they want it before they've even gone in the house. So having a perfectly staged home definitely helps for your marketing. It helps the buyer visualize what it looks like to live in it. So I think it's a win-win for everybody when you do stage a home. And then potentially you could have the option, people could buy all the furniture with it. So definitely worth it.
Thank you so much. And would you say it's a good idea to add a bedroom or to remove a bedroom in order to make the place look like it has more space? What would you say are the pros and cons of adding a bedroom where it's possible? When I say adding a bedroom, I mean splitting a bigger room into two, or is it better to kind of create more space, or does it vary based on the client? How do you select what
Yeah,
adds
and
more
I would
value?
say vary because of the client, plus also what is the property. If you're doing, say, a cottage or vacation home, you might need more bedrooms because it's going to appeal to the people that will vacation. If you're doing it more in the city where somebody might want a home office, you could do a bedroom, turn one into a home office because it multi-purposes the space. So it's very specific to the property, but definitely having three bedrooms in a home is helpful because you'll have your main bedroom, a guest, and then there's always company that might come. So I think if you can have a property with at least three bedrooms is a very good selling point. And if you have the fourth or fifth, then maybe you could turn one into an exercise space or even an office because that seems to be the trend right now with people working from home.
Thank you so much. And would you say it's worth is it worth it to convert a garage into an extra room? And what are the pros and cons in terms of adding value there?
Yeah, so using garages for extra space is fantastic. So typically, if you have a large garage, if you could sometimes just Google what is the average size car that could fit. So it does relate to garage. And then if you have an extra space, you could turn it maybe into a mud room or a laundry room or extra storage. People love closets and storage. And if you could do some nice wardrobe units that are built in a space like that, or even sometimes it's trendy with dogs. People want to have a spot for their dog and maybe have a dog wash. It just makes a nice trendy space and it multi-purposes it. And I think it's a really good accent. Otherwise, you could also turn the garage into putting some screen doors on the garage doors, and then it makes an extra sitting area. I know a lot of Florida homes, people do that in their garages, and they'll make it like an extra living room because they're more bungalows and they don't have basements. So that's one of the trends as well. So utilizing the space that you have, sometimes you can't add on to your property, but you could rework the floor plan that you have. And I think that maximizes the value as well.
Thank you so much. And would you say that typically if you do convert the garage into a room, because there is actually the possibility to do it, but then you don't have a garage anymore, does that lower the value of the property, or does it increase it, or is it the same? Or it depends?
Well, it would depend. Like, as long as you had a parking space, like, depends what climate you're in. I know up in Canada, if you have lots of snow, for people to have a garage where they don't have to shovel a lot of snow, it's very helpful. Where maybe in Florida, they don't have that, the extra space for a screen room and a cool space to hang out is more appealing. And then in Europe, I know a lot of times, as long as you have a driveway space, because it's hard to get parking on the streets, then it would be, that's how I would analyze that to say, what works for each individual, and what maximizes for the house. So.
Very good. And when I used to live in a different property, I remember that I had my handyman build a lot of top to bottom sort of closets for shoes, and also like three even closets for my clothes on 3 levels. Does that add value, or does it diminish it, or it depends on how it looks?
I would say it's going to add value because, like, when any woman goes in a house and they're going to look around, like, where am I going to put my shoes? Where am I going to put my handbags? Where am I going to put? So if something's already pre-built in there, that's definitely an asset. And especially if you've had it custom done, I think it's a great asset. Now, one advice I'd give, if talking to a client before they build that, if they planned on moving in the next year or two, I would maybe do it more as a furniture piece. So it gives them the option that they could remove it and take it with them. So they're not losing on that investment of spending something that's built in. But if you're going to be living there for a while and you get the use of it, it's definitely worth doing a built-in. So there's some great opportunities to use the space and then keep it for if you're going to move as well. So.
Thank you so much. And what about the finishings in terms of like the kitchen, and does it add any value? For example, if you have a bigger dishwasher versus a smaller one, or like if the balcony is a little bit bigger, what would you say are the main elements that count towards saying, yes, this is going to add an extra this much more money to the value of the property? And what can we do as buyers of investment properties to make sure that we increase the value and we don't accidentally diminish it?
So good question, because a lot of our vacation properties, people entertain a lot, and they often request for lots of fridges, lots of dishwashers, and you think, 2 dishwashers. But when you're entertaining and you have a ton of people over, having 2 dishwashers is very handy. And then they have some nice drawer refrigerators that you can use for your produce and then your drinks, and then have a little mini wine fridge plus your regular fridge. So it's very important to think of how big the home or cottage that you're decorating and the use of the space. Because if the big fridges are perfect, because people come up for a week, they load the fridge up, they're entertaining and cooking, that's what really helps. And when you're cooking for a lot of people, having those resources in the actual kitchen help. And if you have a smaller kitchen, key things are, a great stove, a good fridge, and a good dishwasher. Those are the bare minimums that it's always have. And then pull out garbages. That seems to be a great trend right now because of recycling in garbage. Instead of having a trash can right in your garbage, you can have them built into your cabinetry, which cleans the kitchen up. It looks nice and clean lined and shows beautifully. So depending on the location, that's kind of how we would determine what goes into the kitchen.
Thank you so much. I've seen some of the videos of the homes you have renovated and remodeled, or just added the interior design to it, and I was just mind blown, like how beautiful, how luxurious the properties were, like absolutely mind blown. And I'm wondering, all of these techniques that you've shared in this video, will they cause a person to kind of have also almost like a change of feeling? Like, are they going to feel differently in those homes if they were to live there? Just because they added, I don't know, candles or a nice duvet or all these little details that you mentioned, would you say that that really can create that extreme home makeover?
Absolutely. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you can treat yourself like whether like you live in a cabin or a castle, if you decorate it gorgeous and with luxurious linens and beautiful things, when you curl up into bed, you're going to feel luxurious and it's going to feel your energy is going to change. And if you're decluttered and your house has a, you know, everything has a place, and whether it's large or small, having things in a place where it flows beautifully and it's clean lines and it looks decluttered, your life will feel decluttered. So that energy that you have in your home, and that's a perfect example of feng shui of how that does, is what each space tells about you is usually how you feel about yourself. So if you have a space in your home and it's the junk room where a lot of people put all their junk, like we'll just put it in that one room and we won't look there, sometimes some area in your life might be blocked and there's a lot of things happening. So the first time somebody says that to me, I go, okay, well, hang on, what's happening in this area of your home? What area in your life is getting messed up? So then once you declutter that, then things start to open up and your energy changes. So I think every part of that in your home tells you how what's going on in your life too.
Thank you. And would you say that we can create some sort of energy change in ourselves as a result of this extreme home makeover? And if yes, is there anything extra we need to do in order to make sure the energy flows in our house and there's no stagnation, not only in our house, but in our business, you can say, as a result?
Mhm. Yeah, well, here's a great example. So if you're walking through your house and you have a piece of furniture that you're constantly bumping into or stubbing your toe, and it happens over and over, there's a good indication something's off balance in your house, in your business, in your life. It's almost like the universe is just nudging you to give you a like, hey, wake up, something's happening. So it's a good indication that look at the messages that are going on in your life. Say you walk through your home and you go, oh, I have to finish this project, or I have to finish that, paint that door, or I have to finish this, and it nags you, then it'll start pulling on your energy. So then take the time, take an afternoon and finish that one job. Once you get that complete, you'll start to notice energy and flow will change throughout your life as well. So you can almost walk through your home one day and write that whole list of all these things that are nagging at you and then make the day to let's get these taken care of. And you'll notice in your business and in your life, things will start to flow as well because then you have completion and the universe opens up and it pulls more room for things to come to you. So I find that quite often, even with myself, things are going frustrated and I'll just go, okay, you know what? I need to change 20 things here just to get the energy changing to change it up. I'll change my office at work. I'll change the location, like I'll rearrange my furniture sometimes, and it just gives it a good spring clean and it gives it an energy change, which then also helps with my mood as well.
Thank you. And you know, when I moved into my current home, one thing I noticed, I mean, it's so beautiful, like really, but the most important thing about it is that it's actually very comfortable. And what I like the most about it is that it has drawers. And that creates amazing energy for me because I don't have to like bend. It's not hard for me to take out the stuff from, you know, from the closets and the cupboards and so on. So what I'm wondering is, are there any organizing tips or any organizing elements of whether it's, I don't know, anything that we can store things in that you would recommend a home should have in order to have that extreme home makeover that gives us that energy and that beautiful feeling when we're in that home?
Oh, this is perfect because I just did a talk about this the other day for a whole group of ladies. And one of the things, okay, it's like go buy some clear bins. The big Rubbermaid clear bins because you can see through them and you don't have to open lids and take them off. What's in this one? Get some label makers, even if you handwrite the labels, put everything labeled. You can even make a binder that when you put something in a bin, you can label the bin and the location of where that bin is so that you're not hunting all over the house like where did I put this, where did I put that, and it's almost like a legend for your home so that it's itemized so that when you're looking for things. And then Another great tip is you might have things throughout your home that your uncle gave you, your aunt gave you, and you might not love them, but you keep hanging on to them, and that pulls away from your energy as well. So I was giving people tips on get some sticky notes. So if you put pink sticky notes on items that you love that you want to keep, and put green sticky notes on things that you want to give away, give to family, give somebody a chance to purchase. And if it's yellow, then you're going to donate it so that you can go around the house and start releasing some of these items that take up space, which then frees up room for your regular storage items. And that's a great way it's a project you can do on a Saturday afternoon and just start doing it. And then put those clear bins in the garage or in a storage room. And then if you have them all labeled, very easy to find. And it's a great little project and you'll have tons of energy afterwards.
Thank you. What I loved about this entire recording is that it's so packed full of tips. And I really hope that people will reach out to you on your links, which will be below this video, and they will connect with you so that you can help them with their interior design questions. And also, I hope they will reach out to you to maybe help them to remodel, renovate their vacation homes or investment properties. So thank you so much for this interview, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks, Lily.